Hello everyone, welcome to part 6 on AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Crash Course. In this video, we are going to see about various different database offerings from AWS. So, to to start up with, we need to know about something called as an AWS RDS. AWS RDS is the Amazon Relational Database Service, which provides database as a service to us. It's more of like a managed database offering from AWS. So AWS takes the database and it will take care of all the patching, it will take care of all the maintenance on the database. So no need to worry about any of the database management tasks. It is like simply we can make use of the database offerings which is provided to us by AWS. So it is very easy to set up, operate and scale the relational database in cloud. So what are all the various different benefits of using RDS? It is very cost efficient. It is a free sizable capacity. It is like we can upside, we can upscale, or we can downscale the capacity of the RDS instances. So no need for hardware provisioning, database setup, patching and backups, which we already discussed. Everything will be taken care by AWS. So we will be getting lot of various different instance types for various different workloads. Currently AWS RDS comes up with six main flavors. One is Aurora. Aurora is the proprietary AWS RDS which comes with a lot of high performance and all the other benefits. Other things are Postgres and MySQL. These are all popular open source platforms. Even MariaDB is also popular open source. AWS provides the option for Oracle and SQL Server as well. So if you are having something which is running on my on-premise, so we can very well migrate that to AWS RDS, which is a very highly managed service. And other options, it's like we need to know about the automated backups which is provided to us by AWS. AWS provides the option of automated backups in the form of snapshots. It is similar to EBS snapshots. AWS takes the snapshots. So we will be having the option of 0 to 35 days, where 0 we are specifying no backup. Maximum of 35 days we can do. Actually by default it is for 7 days. And we need to be aware of something called as an read replica and multi-AZ. Read replica is all about reloading. It is like taking away your read intensive workload. Say your database is having a very read intensive workloads, then we can create the read replicas on top of the database, so that read workloads will be taken care by read replicas. So primary instance will be less loaded by read loads. And multi-AZ, it is all about DR strategy. So we will be having the primary and standby nodes. So the data will be automatically replicated across both the things. So whenever in case of any failure or anything, automatically the traffic will be diverted to the standby node. So read replica is all about read performance, and multi-AZ, it is all about disaster recovery and high availability. So we need to know about one person in the family, which is Amazon Aurora. Since it's an extensive AWS service, we need to give more focus towards the Aurora. So Aurora, it is an MySQL and Postgres compatible, which provides it is built in for cloud. To be very frank, Amazon migrated all their workloads from Amazon.com. Amazon.com migrated all their workloads from Oracle to Aurora. It is like once Aurora is built up and running, everything is there. So now the complete Amazon.com website is running on top of Aurora. That's how the performance it's all about. So it is like traditionally it is it's designed in such a way that it maintains the 6 copies of data. This is the Aurora cluster. If you can see primary instance there, and each and every data will be copied across different availability zones. So by minimum 6 copies of data will be maintained. So it is like reads and writes, they uses multiple different technologies, and then it is like it will provide us the database option in a very efficient way. So we need to know about Aurora serverless. Aurora serverless is all about automatic scaling. So it sets up, shuts down. It is like depends on the load, it will increase and decrease. So those options are provided to us in the form of Aurora serverless. It is very highly performant and scalable, highly available and all these things. It is compatible with MySQL and Postgres. What it is, if you are having the MySQL workload, we can very well migrate that MySQL to Aurora, and then similar thing happens to Postgres as well. It is completely fully managed option which is provided to us actually. So what are all the other options? It is like DynamoDB is another one important thing to know. It is all about NoSQL. So it is a key value document database. See, now previously in the previous slide we talked about the relational data stores for structural data. Now we are discussing about the NoSQL key value data, which is the JSON side kind of a stuff. So where all the key value type of things we will be storing it in DynamoDB. DynamoDB again, it is a single digit millisecond performance at scale. So it is very very speed for highly speed web applications and mobile application. So it is multi-region, multi-active, durable database storage. So it is like it provides lot of options, it does lot of things in memory, and it is like it is a very ideal thing for mobile and web. So it used to handle 10 trillion requests per day, can support peaks of like 20 million requests per second. That's how the Amazon DynamoDB is designed. So it is like there are many options. DAX is DynamoDB accelerator, which provides the caching mechanism, and it provides lot of benefits. And there is an option of global tables. So DynamoDB global tables stores the data across different regions, different places, so that the data access will be very very easy. There is something called TTL, which is the time to live, where we can define the time to live for the transactions and data. So after the TTL, the data will be automatically removed. And there is a new addition, which is the DynamoDB transactions, which provide the ACID complaint. Basically NoSQL comes under the base complaint. So inside DynamoDB, the ACID complaints can be provided using DynamoDB transactions. And there is DynamoDB streams there. So it is like whenever there is an operation happens on DynamoDB, it will invoke the streams and some other things will happen. So using that, it is more like similar like an event driven processing. So ideal use cases, as we already discussed, you can see this is the weather based app. So whenever a data is there in S3, automatically it will come to an front end screen. It is like it is an application. From the application, API gateway is there, and it is triggered with Lambda. That Lambda is interfaced with the DynamoDB. So it's a typical it is like completely serverless model of doing an application. So all these things which is getting involved in there, it's more of serverless and very very highly latent. It provides the millisecond, microsecond type of a latency. Other thing to remember is AWS Document DB. So AWS Document DB is more of MongoDB. So it is like if you are purpose built for JSON data. So if you are having the MongoDB, so if you want to move to cloud, then AWS Document DB is the best option, best alternative. It supports the MongoDB as well. And the another thing in databases space is the Amazon Key Spaces. This is for Apache Cassandra. So as we discussed in the previous case, you see if you are having the Apache Cassandra database which is running my workloads, if you want to migrate to AWS cloud, then Key Spaces is one good thing. So it is like it's completely serverless, it's highly available, highly scalable. So it is completely compatible with Apache Cassandra CQL as well. So if you are running some Cassandra workloads, then if you want to migrate to AWS, Amazon Key Spaces is one good thing to remember. So the other thing in databases category is Amazon Neptune. This is quite interesting. This is a graph based database. If you are having the graph based database, so what is a graph? Graph simply looks like that. It is like, say, typically a person there, he uses something, he likes something, that there is another person, he likes something. So if you draw a graph between these type of data sets, then it is called as a graph database. Typical social media, right? It is like some person likes somebody, and then that person likes something. So it goes, if you keep drawing a graph around all these things, that's called as a graph database. So it is like the whatever the proprietary stuff which is available over there in market, it supports both the SparkQL and Apache Tinkerpop. These are all some of the traditional query languages which are used to support the graph based databases. So AWS offering for graph-based databases is Amazon Neptune. Amazon QLDB. QLDB is Quantum Ledger Database, is fully managed ledger database. This is for immutable type of a data transactions. So it is like cryptographically verifiable in transaction logs are stored in Amazon QLDB. So if you want to have something which is related to immutable data, then it is like QLDB is the option. And there is another option called Amazon Time Stream. It is all about fully managed time series type of a database. So if you are going to deal with some time series type of a database for IoT and all these type of applications, then we can very well make use of Amazon Time Stream. So finally, we are going to see about Amazon Elastic Cache. Elastic Cache is all about caching. Caching, you know, right? It's a simple concept of caching. So it caches things into memory, so that we can add Elastic Cache to any of the databases. Say like I can add a Elastic Cache to my Aurora, I can add the Elastic Cache to my Neptune, to my DynamoDB, so that what it can do, it can cache the data from specific transactions and everything into it, so that the data transaction time will be very very less. So Amazon's offering for Elastic Cache, it is like Elastic Cache comes with two of the primary members which are currently available in market. One is the Memcached and the other one is the Reddish. So if you are going ahead with the simple data caching, then Memcached is the option. And if you are going ahead with the real-time data applications, real-time data dashboards and gaming applications, then Redis is one good good option. So we need to be aware of Amazon Elastic Cache and what are the performance related benefits is provided to us in the form of Elastic Cache. So similar to Read Replicas, Elastic Cache provides some sort of an caching mechanism which provides lot of performance benefits. We need to be aware of Memcached and Redis as well. So we came to the end of this lecture. I hope this lecture is informative for you. I am looking forward to see you in the next lecture. Thanks a lot.